So what is the perfect diet? You've likely encountered countless influencers and self-proclaimed experts claiming that no such thing exists, encouraging you to eat whatever you want as long as it fits your macros. On the other hand, you have people telling you that steak, butter, and eggs are the only way to live a healthy life. But what if I told you that this popular advice might be leading you astray? After years of research, experimentation, and personal struggles, I'm here to challenge these notions and present a more nuanced approach to nutrition that could help you feel better, look better, and perform better. And of course, balance the fun that life has to offer. Let me start by sharing my own experience here. So for years, I religiously followed the popular "if it fits your macros" or IIFYM approach. I believed I'd found the holy grail of dieting, the freedom to eat whatever I wanted, including daily dessert, regular fast food, as long as I hit my macros, which mostly was my protein targets, but sure, carbs and fats were important as well. And of course, staying within my own calorie limits. So on paper, this diet seemed perfect. I was getting stronger in the gym, my physique was improving, but beneath the surface, problems were definitely brewing. So despite my apparent progress on the outside, I found myself constantly battling intense cravings and struggling with several binge eating episodes semi-regularly. My energy levels were erratic, and maintaining a lean physique became more increasingly difficult. Even worse, I noticed pretty subtle health issues creeping up. There were digestive problems, mood swings, poor sleep quality, acne, and my HbA1c and fasting glucose, markers for diabetes and prediabetes, were actually slowly creeping upwards despite looking really good, having a lean physique, and exercising pretty regularly. And it wasn't until I took a step back and critically examined my approach that I realized the potential for long-term consequences of eating in the if it fits your macro style. And truthfully, you see a lot of fitness influencers promoting these habits. There are plenty of pictures with a jacked guy flexing with mountains of burgers and pizza in front of them. I'm sure you've seen pictures of them. They may seem healthy on the outside, but we need to consider the internal effects of consistently consuming processed, nutrient-poor foods. So while the if it fits your macros approach isn't entirely without merit, it does emphasize the importance of calorie balance and macronutrient ratios, but it falls short on a few things. So one of them is micronutrient deficiencies. So by entirely focusing on macros, we're going to neglect a lot of the vital vitamins, minerals, and phytonutrients for our bodies to function optimally. Of course, there's also a gut health focus. So processed foods can negatively impact our gut microbiome, leading to a host of health issues and lower well-being altogether. Then of course, there's also an inflammation component. So many junk foods allowed under if it fits your macros are pro-inflammatory, potentially contributing to certain chronic diseases that you may not even know and not realize it's from your diet. And then of course, there's the blood sugar regulation aspect, like I mentioned earlier for myself. So relying on simple carbs, sugars can lead to insulin resistance over time. And then of course, the food addiction component. So highly palatable processed foods can trigger addictive eating patterns in susceptible individuals. And I am definitely one of those individuals, and you might be too. So eating whatever you want, but fitting the foods into your macros will fall short on the food quality side of things. Where most other diets fall short is how sustainable and practical they are in their own implementation. So let's take a few common examples into consideration. And one that you see often is keto, where you practically cut all carbohydrate intake to zero. So in this one, you're missing many key nutrients that come from fruits and vegetables, and who goes their whole life without ever eating a carb? Hard to stick to. It's not gonna be me. And the same goes with carnivore and animal-based, which is the newest trend that you see everywhere. Everyone's like eating off a cutting board with steak and butter and a bunch of stuff here. And believe me, beef, eggs, fruit, they're my favorite foods. There is no way that I can eat that on a date night or Christmas dinner, or only eat gas station eggs on a long road trip. It's just not happening. And the same applies to most diets here. You just can't live a normal life while eating those things, unless you're a hermit very devoted to your goals that are gonna give you only a marginal benefit if you are a hermit, which I think is not even the marginal benefit you're looking for. So with all these considerations, there are really four main things we will focus on when it comes to choosing a diet. So of course, they are gonna be maximizing muscle growth, minimizing fat gain, improving your overall health and well-being, and of course, something that's sustainable in the long term. So first, to optimize muscle growth, we're gonna need to focus on three key areas. One is going to be protein intake, second is gonna be carbohydrate quality and timing, and then of course, healthy fat consumption. So for protein intake, you should aim for around 0.7 to 1 gram per pound of body weight daily, which in metric turns out to 1.6 to 2.2 grams per protein per kilogram. And this is gonna be around 120 to 200 grams of protein per day. For most people, spread your protein intake throughout the day to maintain elevated muscle protein synthesis, or MPS is the abbreviation. And here's a pretty standard and sample protein distribution. So upon waking, you could have 25 to 30 grams of protein, whether it's yogurt or in a shake. Mid-morning, you may have another 25 grams. Lunch, maybe closer to 40, 50. Post-workout in the afternoon, another 30. Dinner, another 30 or 40. So the best protein sources are gonna include lean meats, like chicken breast, turkey, lean beef, fish, of course, like salmon, tuna, cod, eggs and egg whites, Greek yogurt, whey protein powder is a good one. Even if it is a little processed, it's fine. And of course, some plant-based options like tofu, tempeh, and lentils. As for carbohydrates, focus on complex ones, especially around your workouts, which is gonna be key here for muscle gain. So these are gonna provide sustained energy and support muscle glycogen replenishment. Aim for around 1 to 2.5 grams of carbohydrates per pound of body weight, adjusting these based on your own activity level and your goals. So the top complex carb sources are gonna be brown rice, maybe white rice if you're okay with that, quinoa, sweet potatoes, oats, whole grain pasta, and beans and lentils. And you might be wondering how you should ideally time your carbohydrate intake around your workouts for optimal muscle gain. So here's my recommendation. Pre-workout, around 1 to 2 hours before your workout, aim for around 0.25 to 5 grams per pound of body weight. Post-workout, which is like within the next few hours after your workout, aim for another 0.25 to 0.5 per pound of body weight. So basically for me at 200 pounds, it's gonna be 50 to 100 grams pre and post. And as for fats, don't neglect your healthy fats. They're gonna play a pretty crucial role in hormone production, including testosterone, which you need for gains. Aim for around 0.25 to 0.5 grams of fat per pound of body weight throughout your entire day. So healthy fat sources are gonna include avocados, nuts, seeds, olive oil, which is the oil of my people, the best, fatty fish, and egg yolks. So altogether, aim for around 1 to 3 pounds a month for relatively lean gains in terms of how much weight you're gaining. Calories are gonna play a role here, so make sure that you're not eating too much of those. Now for minimizing fat gain. So the key to minimizing fat gain while supporting muscle growth lies in implementing a pretty strategic fasting protocol and never being too much in a surplus. But of course, you should find an eating schedule that works for you in the most part. Being sustainable is more important than this. So for me, I'm not hungry in the morning. Simple as that. And many people aren't. You don't need to force yourself to eat if it does not fit your lifestyle and does not fit how your body wants to function. I feel more focused and clear if I fast till later in the morning. Maybe I have my first meal at 11, noon, 1. Sometimes it's 10 though. So my sample schedule is as follows. 6 a.m. I'll wake up, I'll hydrate with some water and some electrolytes if I remember. From 6 to 9, I'm fasting, usually not eating any food during this period. Maybe I'll have some water, black coffee, maybe tea if I'm feeling a little fancy, and I may have the occasional energy drink instead of a coffee. Those are gonna be 0 calories. In moderation, they're fine, don't worry. When it gets to 9 a.m., I'm gonna break the fast with my pre-workout meal. I focus on pretty easily digestible carbs and moderate protein. So an example could be like oatmeal mixed with whey protein and a banana. I'm still not very hungry, so this is just a light meal before my workout. Around 10 a.m., I will probably work out. Noon, I will have my first proper meal or post-workout meal. It's gonna be the same thing. So similar to the pre-workout meal, but with a slightly higher carb intake. So for me, it's gonna be something like grilled chicken, air fried potatoes, love my air fryer, and broccoli. Come 3 p.m., I'm gonna have an afternoon snack. This is gonna be a high protein snack like a buffalo chicken dip that I make. Let me know if you want the recipe for that, or a sandwich loaded with meat. But I may also have a fruit smoothie with a protein shake if I'm craving something sweet. It is about having that balance. Come 7 p.m., I'm gonna have my final meal, again, focusing on protein and vegetables with a little bit more minimal carbs. So maybe steak with a salad or something like that. This approach allows me to eat at a schedule that's comfortable for me. If you feel horrible in the morning, change this up. Eat something. Have something high in protein first thing in the morning just to kickstart some muscle protein synthesis. Get ahead of your protein goal, and that might help you with appetite regulation. So if you're finding yourself super ravenous at night, maybe you don't fast in the morning, so this is about figuring out what works for you. There is no one size fits all here. And with that, just set regular meal times, and your body will become accustomed to it. Now for improving your overall health. So when it comes to optimizing your health through your diet, the focus should be on supporting your gut microbiome, limiting inflammation, and just getting the daily recommended allotments of vitamins and minerals. So the key here is just to emphasize whole unprocessed foods rich in nutrients and with beneficial compounds like antioxidants. So here's a bit more of a detailed look at the foods that should form the foundation of your diet. And I hate the word superfood because I feel like it is often misleading, but these are the closest that you'll get. So first, of course, are vegetables. A good rule of thumb is to aim for a wide variety of colors to ensure that you're getting a broad spectrum of nutrients. So just gonna rattle a list off for you. So there's foods like leafy greens, like spinach, kale, Swiss chard, cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, root vegetables like carrots, beets, sweet potatoes, the allium family like garlic, onions, and leeks, and of course the mushrooms. And there's plenty of these, I can't name them all. These are gonna be your friends here. You cannot neglect fruits either. My go-to fruits are gonna be berries like strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, citrus fruits, of course, oranges, squeezing lemon on some food, apples, pineapples, pears, and kiwi, grapefruit. I already mentioned having wise lean protein intake, carbohydrate intake, and healthy fats earlier, so I'll skip those for now. However, an overlooked group of foods that support your gut health are fermented foods. There's a lot more research lately on the gut microbiome and its effects on health, so make sure that you take care of it. So most days I try to incorporate some variety of Greek yogurt, the yogurt of my people, fantastic, would recommend, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, or kombucha. It's usually Greek yogurt though. I'm gonna be honest about that one. Can't remember the last time I had kombucha. So what's gonna make all these foods flavorful without the calories? You got it, herbs and spices. So the ones I list here are gonna be higher in antioxidants that are gonna help you with heart health, inflammation. So season your foods generally with these. So it's gonna be turmeric, ginger, cinnamon, garlic, and rosemary is another good one that I like too. So with all this, don't forget the importance of proper hydration. Make sure you have at least 8 to 10 glasses of water a day. Try to aim for that gallon mark or 3.7 something liters. For me, it is gonna be around that 4 liter mark. Of course, if you're sweating a lot or taking creatine, maybe bump it up another 20%. And if you're a smaller person, maybe a little less. Find what works for you. I'm simply the messenger here. And then lastly is ensuring sustainability. So this is the factor that I think is the most essential to any diet strategy. And of course, it is just making sure that you can stick to it constantly. So first has to do with flexible tracking. So instead of meticulously counting every single gram, bring your food scale everywhere you go like a little nerd, focus on rough estimates and food quality. So here's gonna be a pretty simplified approach. So first, determine your daily calorie needs. For example, say it is 2,500 calories. With that, aim for around 120 to 180 grams of protein within that calorie limit. So fill the remaining calories with a variety of whole foods. That will be from the approved list I mentioned earlier. Simple as that. So with that, also allow for some treats. While the focus should be on nutrient-dense whole foods, it's okay to live a little, I promise. Aim for like an 80-20 rule. 80% of your diet should be from the optimal foods that I mentioned, 20% from the less optimal choices, maybe processed, maybe McDonald's, in moderation. So this is combining the primarily whole food diet, but making sure it fits your macros, and of course, as a result, allowing for some flexibility. This is how I eat some sort of treat every single day, but stay in shape. It's not gonna be 4,000 calories of pizza, but I put a lot of meat on it and it fits my macros. That's not gonna be good. It is more so like a lot of salad, a lot of meat, and a little bit of pizza here and there as one out of my 21 meals throughout the week, kind of thing. And of course, you should also meal prep so you're not raiding the pantry with whatever snack you have. Just prepare your meals in advance to ensure that you always have healthy options on hand. This is gonna reduce that temptation just to reach for, convenient but less healthy alternatives. So a simple way for me is just to prepare a protein source, a starch, and some sort of vegetable with rather simple seasonings. So from there, I can stir fry it all together with some teriyaki sauce if I want an Asian style stir fry. I can add some salsa and guac and wrap it in a tortilla, heat it up on the pan if I want Mexican style. The options are endless here. Be creative. And of course, get your chef apron on and experiment with some recipes. Find ways to make healthy food exciting. Experiment with different herbs, spices, new cooking methods. Buy a wok or something. You just want to keep your meals interesting here. And of course, I've been reiterating this whole entire time, but listen to your body. Pay attention to how different foods make you feel. Adjust your diet based on energy levels, digestion. If you have a tummy ache, don't eat the food that gave you a tummy ache, and your overall well-being, of course. So something like a food diary could be very helpful here. So for me, it is high FODMAP foods that trigger irritation in my own gut. So I limit those as best as I can. For you, it could be dairy, it could be gluten, could be processed meat, it could be salami, alcohol, I don't know. Try these things out, figure it out, get a diary, find what irritates you and avoid it. And then of course, to ensure that you're on the right track, you have to monitor your progress. So here's some pretty key metrics that you should manage and look at. What I do with my clients, of course, body weight. Generally, you wanna weigh yourself at the same time every day or several times a month at the very least, preferably in the morning after using the bathroom. You could take some body measurements as well, like measurements of your waist, your hips, your chest, your arms. Maybe you do that every 2 to 6 weeks, something like that. And then you could also take progress photos as well. Take photos in the same exact lighting, same exact poses, every 4 to 8 weeks as well. I think that's a good timeline where you don't feel like you're overwhelmed because you don't see much progress, but long enough where you actually will see some progress. And of course, for your strength gains, keep a log of your workouts just to track improvements in strength and performance, energy levels and mood. Note how you're feeling throughout the day and during your workouts. Make mental note of that. Again, I think it's important to track your sleep quality, maybe the duration, maybe the quality. If you use a sleep tracking app, maybe like an Apple Watch or a Garmin or a Fitbit or like an Oura Ring or something like that. And then same thing as I mentioned with digestive health. Just pay attention to any changes in your digestion or gut health. So remember that this nutrition is all going to be highly individual. What works perfectly for one person may not be ideal for another. Maybe even not ideal for a twin brother and a twin sister that have pretty similar genetics. Be prepared to make adjustments based on your progress and how you feel. So some adjustments include, tweaking your macronutrient ratios. Maybe going a little bit higher fat, lower carb. Maybe that works for you, or vice versa. Another thing you could change is meal timing. Try different food choices. Modify your fasting window. Fast in the evening instead of the morning, things like that. Again, you could increase or decrease your calorie intake depending on how much weight you're gaining. And so with these, you may have some challenges. And if you try to implement an optimal diet approach, you're gonna find some obstacles and strategies. So now for overcoming challenges. So as you implement this optimal diet approach, you're going to face some challenges. So here are some common obstacles and strategies to overcome them. And one is going to be cravings. So if you are used to eating a lot of processed foods and junk foods, you're gonna experience some cravings initially. So some ways to combat these are just to ensure that you're eating nutrient-dense foods, staying hydrated. A lot of times you do confuse thirst for hunger. So over time, your taste preferences are gonna shift towards the more healthy options. Then of course, social situations is gonna be a big thing. So eating out, attending a social event, it can be challenging for some people. You could plan ahead by checking the menus, eating a small meal before the events, eating a big mixing bowl of salad so you don't feel less likely to binge. Or if you're going to like a potluck or something, you could just bring your own healthy dish to share, maybe a veggie tray or something like that. And of course, one thing that happens to my very busy clients is just having time constraints. So if you are busy, I think meal prepping can definitely be a big lifesaver for you. Just dedicate a few hours each week to preparing meals in advance. Get some time-saving kitchen tools like a pressure cooker or an air fryer, Instant Pot, slow cooker. All those things are going to be very helpful. Or if you're rich and ballin', get a meal delivery service, or you could just cater, a big tray of chicken from Chipotle or something. Or if you're big ballin', hire a chef. I don't know. And then on the opposite spectrum, there could be some budget concerns. So while some healthy foods can be expensive, there's still going to be plenty of affordable options. Focus on seasonal produce, buy in bulk. head over to Costco, try some things out there. Consider frozen fruits and vegetables, as they could be very cost effective as well. And then as for progress, you could hit a plateau, so don't get discouraged. Happens to everyone, literally everyone. This is gonna be a normal part of your own fitness journey. So review your diet and training, make small adjustments, see what works, see what doesn't work, and be patient. This is about the journey, not necessarily the destination, so make sure that you're enjoying the process. The optimal diet isn't gonna be about restriction or just following trendy advice from your favorite IG influencers. It's about nourishing your body with whole nutrient-dense foods, just so you can support muscle growth, minimize fat gain, improve your overall health, and have it just feel sustainable in the long term. So by implementing these principles, you can take control of your nutrition and achieve the physique and health you desire. So again, remember, consistency is going to be key here. It's okay to make gradual changes. Start by incorporating one or two of these techniques, see how you respond, and go from there. This whole thing is more about than just looking good. It's about feeling great, performing your best, and just setting yourself up for long-term health and vitality. Just embrace the process and be patient with yourself here. So thank you for watching this perfect diet video. Hopefully you get some tidbits that help you out, and looking forward to catching you in the next one. Let me know if there's any other videos you want to see. I will take them to heart. Catch you later.